Today we're talking about the 2005 film Adam's Apples, Adam's Abler, a Danish film starring Mads Mikkelsen. I feel like every Danish film that people hear about, it has to star Mads Mikkelsen. It just has to. He's just a legend. I love him. He's great in absolutely everything that he's done. As you know, I just watched this 30 minutes ago, and so I didn't understand the entire movie. It's definitely a movie about faith, a movie about good and evil, a movie about what these characters believe and what they believe is the right thing to do. And it's a dark comedy. It definitely is. It's very dry, and just like the things that happen are just kind of ridiculous and like very much not real life. There's definitely like just miracles that do happen and things that are just like very exaggerated. But it's a weird vibe of a movie. Like the entire setting at this church that like doubles as like a halfway house, you know, where people go and when they're in trouble, and they reach out to Ivan, played by Mads Mikkelsen, who seems at the beginning to be just like this great guy. He's this priest. He just helps everybody who comes to him, and he's always happy no matter if people wrong him. And then we start to learn more about him, start to learn more about his past and things that have happened to him, things that have traumatized him. And then it seems like the entire story is just a biblical allegory, like you said, to the book of Job. And so you're saying it's about a man being tested by God. He has sorts of terrible things happen to him, but he has to keep his faith. And so it's interesting that the movie's titled Adam's Apples, because the main character really is Ivan, Mads Mikkelsen, I would say. We kind of follow the perspective of Adam kind of navigating this church, and we learn along with him. But I feel like Mads Mikkelsen really is the one. He is representing Job, and he is the one who is being tested by God. And that is made very, very clear. And so when Adam is at this house, he gets this book from Ivan, and every time he drops it, it seems to open to the book of Job, right? Mads Mikkelsen, so many bad things keep happening to him. Adam, he says like outwardly to other people that he is evil. And he does very evil things to Ivan. He just punches him in the face multiple times, puts him in the hospital multiple times, and every time Ivan's just like, hey, you know what, we gotta help this tree, you know, the crows are getting to the tree, let's just go. His nose is just broken, blood bleeding from his ear. Adam, who thinks Ivan is just full of crap this entire time, is trying to break him. That's his goal. So he comes to the house and he first says, oh, my goal is to, bake an apple pie. And it kind of seems like he's just trying to please Ivan. And then he's like, no, my goal is to try to break him. Ivan, he keeps being tested. And not only tested with Adam just being an absolute dick to him, but his whole life, he was sexually abused as a kid. His mother died giving birth to him. He has a brain tumor, and his son is paralyzed. And he's just, happy, going about his day. But the way he does it, he also, in his mind, nothing is wrong, so he kind of just lies about a bunch of things. He says, oh, my son isn't paralyzed, everything's fine. Oh, I'm not going to die, everything's fine. Oh, no, everything's fine. And so this delusion is building, and then Adam eventually does break him. And I believe that scene where he breaks him, that's when he's referencing the book of Job, right? Because Ivan the whole time thinks that the devil is testing him. But then Adam makes him think that it's God who is testing him. He says, what if God just hates you? It's not the devil. You're not passing these trials. God just has it out for you. He hates you. And that kind of breaks Ivan. Honestly, I guess because I don't know 100% what the book of Job, the moral of the story, I guess it's keep your faith, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so if this entire setting is revolving around Mads Mikkelsen, he's having all these bad things happen to him, but he's still trying to help the people around him. And everybody in this movie isn't really a good person. There isn't really a very good person in this movie. It's we go and watch Adam and the two other guys who are at the church. They go rob things. The one guy just shoots a bunch of people. I mean, they were neo-Nazis, so it's whatever. I really do like how in this movie that the gunfire that does happen, it just happens. There's no dramatic build-up, no music swelling. They just start shooting. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know where to go from this. I did think it was enjoyable and an interesting viewpoint, even though that Ivan feels like the main character, the viewpoint that Adam goes through, and like the shift of him being just the absolute worst to him kind of turning against his neo-Nazi friends and then staying with Ivan in the end, it does make a little sense because, you know, he's been around him so long, and it's like these like religious themes, and like in religious movies and things, it's like, what is he seeing as an act of God? I guess it's kind of, I feel like a lot of the times where people like, oh, suddenly turn religious and suddenly like, you know, start to be good people, is like they see an act of God and they're like, oh, it must be true. It's like, is this like Ivan being shot in the face and then it healing his tumor? And it was like, oh, he was nice this whole movie, and this is him being rewarded for all of his hardships. So, you know, I guess I should be good too. I don't know. Yeah, very abrupt violence. I did enjoy it. It was very stark. It's like Adam turns good because he can't break Ivan. Yeah, he can't. I guess he does for a point, but then that was kind of just like a low point, and then we just get right back to Ivan being. He's just the man. Mads Mikkelsen is the man. Yeah, I don't know what else to say here. It was just an interesting environment to be in. You're at this house, everybody's kind of like struggling with something. Like they keep on talking, be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go like, you know, shoot up this gas station. This one guy, he's just like an alcoholic, and then he ends up getting with the woman and like them having a baby together, and they seem to be fine, and it's like, what is going on? It was a confusing movie, but I did enjoy watching it. The comedic bits, I think, worked. And it wasn't just like stark comedic bits, like one-liners. It's just kind of the premise is very absurd, and the way they go about things is just, I don't know, it's just slightly off. And then Mads Mikkelsen dryly, just like anything bad happens to him, he's just like, hey, that's chill, let's just move on. I don't know, that part was funny too. Nice cinematography with the crows flying around the storm, almost Tim Burton-esque. Yeah, that one scene. Or I guess that kind of reminded me also of another scene. So yeah, the crows coming in, and then the scene with the thunderstorm. So he just beats up Adam, right? He just leaves him in the church. And then those doors are just swinging. And then he goes outside, and the lightning is like hitting the ground, and like the lightning is like going in the water and just like cascading all over the ground. The tree gets lit on fire and just starts to burn up. And again, classic act of God, environmental rage, you know, classic method used in film to convey that. But yeah, that scene was crazy. I mean, I think all the performances were really great. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen, I mean, he steals the show and everything. I loved when he gets to like the prosthetic nose, just super crooked, and then he gets shot in the face, and he comes back in the end, just like scars all over the side of his face. And the doctor character was pretty funny. Doctor comes in, he's like, oh yeah, he's just delusional, and it's like, I'm a man of science. He just magically recovered. They shot out the tumor or something. I don't know how it happened. Yeah, man. I'm curious, why do you like this movie so much? I know you recommend it. You mentioned it a few times. So why, in your opinion, do you like this? I think I do like the movie quite a bit. I thought it was very enjoyable. But just like, what do you get from it or when you're watching it? Wild dark comedy. Saw it randomly at a cinema years later. Didn't even know what it was. Always stuck with me as a gem. Yeah. You know what? I see that. It's one of those ones where it's like maybe you went in not knowing much. Like literally nobody you know has talked about it before. And it's just something that sticks with you. I totally get that. Yeah, I definitely have a few of those.